Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, where we dive into the world of coding and solve some amazing problems on LeetCode. Today, we're going to tackle a medium-level problem called Find the Prefix Common Array of two arrays. This problem is all about finding the common elements in two arrays as we iterate through them. So, let's get started and see how we can solve this problem. The problem statement is asking us to find the prefix common array of two arrays, A and B. This means we need to find the common elements in the two arrays as we iterate through them, and return an array where each element represents the number of common elements at that point. For example, if we have two arrays, A and B, we need to find the common elements at each step and return an array where each element represents the number of common elements. The intuition behind this problem is that we can solve it by maintaining a set of elements encountered so far in both arrays and counting the common elements at each step. Think of it like having two buckets, one for each array, and as we add elements to each bucket, we count the number of elements that are common to both buckets. This involves iterating through the arrays, adding each element to its respective bucket, and then counting the number of common elements in the two buckets. It's like taking a snapshot of the common elements at each step. So, let's walk through the problem step by step. We start by initializing two sets, one for each array, to store the elements encountered so far. We also initialize a count array to store the prefix common array. Then, we iterate through both arrays simultaneously, adding each element to its respective set and counting the common elements in the two sets. We repeat this process until we've iterated through both arrays, and the resulting count array will represent the prefix common array of the two input arrays. Now, let's take a look at the code. We start by defining a class called Solution, with a method called FindThePrefixCommonArray. This method takes two vectors, A and B, as input and returns a vector representing the prefix common array. We initialize two sets, a set and B set, to store the elements encountered so far in both arrays. We also initialize a count array, count, to store the prefix common array. Then, we iterate through both arrays simultaneously using a for loop. Inside the loop, we add each element to its respective set using the insert method. We then count the common elements in the two sets using a helper method called getCommonCount. This method takes two sets as input and returns the number of common elements. We do this by iterating through the first set and checking if each element exists in the second set. Using the find method, if it does, we increment the count. Finally, we return the count array, which represents the prefix common array of the two input arrays. The time complexity of this solution is O(n), where n is the length of the input arrays. This is because we're iterating through both arrays simultaneously, and the getCommonCount method has a time complexity of O(n). In the worst case, the space complexity is also O(n), as we're storing the elements in the two sets. And that's it, folks. That's how we can solve the Find the Prefix Common Array of Two Arrays problem on LeetCode. I hope you found this explanation helpful and informative. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to ask. If you liked the video, subscribe and comment your approach below.